welcome back to my channel. If you are new here and like the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. Thank you for watching. So even though this is the 11th part of the series, everything is going to change. First off, I will be doing voiceovers, which I haven't done for the past 10 parts, and while I've had a specific song for the entire series, I unfortunately will not be able to use that song anymore. So this is a little different, and I hope that you bear with me. Now let's get to it. I know you all have been waiting long enough for this. The two brothers stood awkwardly in the living room, with the atmosphere close to unbearable. Akutaro had mentioned he needed to speak to his little brother alone, so Yamaguchi was upstairs waiting on the blonde to get back. So, what is it? Akutaro bit his lip. You should probably know by now, but those people that took Lev took Natsuo and Yaku. The middle blocker's eyes widened. This had been news to him. He viewed the white-haired kids as his own siblings, given how intimate Akutaro was with Natsuo. So he grew close to them himself. It was unfortunate that Kageyama was somehow related to it all, because Miwa and Elisa were officially wedded, but he secretly loved it. His small, broken family was growing. No one told me. Oh. Well, we can't let history repeat itself. The younger tilted his head. What are you saying? Akutaro smiled lightly. Say, have you ever loved someone so much you'd be willing to do anything for them? I guess so, though. You have Tadashi. The taller still nodded anyways, wondering where this was going. Look. Whenever you were young, do you remember how much we were struggling? He thought back to the harsh environment they were in, how the family of 3 could barely afford rent, let alone food. Yeah. I was in junior high back then. I couldn't sit back and do nothing. So I got a job. But this wasn't some part-time cashier or babysitting job. I was a spy. Kei's eyes widened. He looked towards the TV to make sure it wasn't on, and he heard everything right. What? Akutaro lightly chuckled. I ended up getting affiliated with that guy that took Lev. What? The younger was surprised he could even muster that much. Akutaro's lips thinned again, gnawing at the skin, tasting the iron forming on his lips. Not a day passed that I wasn't used as a punching bag. There was no way out either. It was run like a mafia, so you could have been in danger if I left. I couldn't let that happen. Kei listened intently, with wide hazel eyes studying his older brother's painful expression, recalling those awful memories. So I stayed, until Victor and Yuuri found me, and saved me. Who are they? Oh right, they are Minako and Ivan, also Elisa, Natsuo, and Lev's real parents. Whoa, back up. Akutaro carefully explained everything. Ivan and Minako's true identities, the Russian siblings' background and past, how they were created through science, how Kenmo was brought into the world the same way, how Victor and Yuuri saved him and gave him a reason to fight again. Any questions that his little brother had, he patiently answered them, plus more. He was kept in the dark for long enough. I realize I haven't been a good brother, and whenever Ma passed, you were all alone. The latter's eyebrows furrowed. Where was this going? I guess till the end, I'm a lousy big brother. And what? Akta smiled warmly. What I said earlier about willing to do anything for the person you love. I'm finally going to play my part. What do you... I'm going to get Natsuo back. Kei shot up from his seat and rose his voice. Are you crazy? That's a suicide mission. I understand that you love him, and you had to leave him to protect him, but there are other ways to prove yourself. If there is one thing that your lousy brother will teach you, know that love is torture. In order to keep it, you need to be willing to make any sacrifice. He stood up, facing his younger brother, with his lip quivering slightly, trying to compose himself. Love makes you crazy. His voice cracked towards the end, before running into the taller's arms. He hadn't remembered when the last time he hugged him. Maybe it was before everything happened. No, way before that. Kei. He sobbed. I've been the pawn for so long. Let me be the knight. Kei's arms reached around the older, his brother's tears mixing with one another. Let me be of use. The two stood in silence, sharing a long embrace with the only sound coming from their sniffles. Akatara moved his head on his brother's shoulder, connecting his eyes with the dark gray ones. It was Yamaguchi, peeking over the corner, eavesdropping. He had a wary gaze as to why his lover was crying. The corner of the blonde's lips tilted slightly, knowing that this boy was in fact his brother's soulmate. He mouthed the words, not wanting Kei to hear, while not knowing if the latter would understand. But the change in his expression said otherwise. Take care of him for me. Yuuri was finally going to do it. Here he was, gripping onto his husband's hand like it was his lifeline, while his children, Elisa and Lev, were sitting in front of him. He wanted to wait until he found Natsuo, but there was no point. Chances are, he knew. It's as before. It's better they know now from him than later by someone else. He smiled lightly at Miwa, who was more or less his comfort, given that she knew everything. His anxiety spiked, realizing it was now or never. Minako-san, take your time. She smiled brightly. It warmed his heart that despite everything, his beautiful daughter could still smile as bright. Actually, that's not my name. Elisa tilted her head in confusion. Even Lev did. He thought he knew everything, considering they spent so long together. You could say that whatever we did for a living was not safe, so to say. Minako is just my code name. But you two have been kept in the dark for long enough. It's time you know. What about Natsuo? Their lips thinned. Unfortunately, I have no say in what he finds out there. We can't wait any longer. What's happening? It's what already has happened, actually. That man isn't your father. And that woman isn't your mother. At least not biologically. Either, for that matter. So, we aren't related to them in any way? No. Lev slightly smiled. His entire life he hated himself for being related to such foul people. But if this is true... How do you know this? He couldn't bring himself to say it. He didn't know why. It was just a simple sentence. He could say it and get it over with in a matter of seconds. So why? Because Yuuri silently thanked any god that was listening when Spectre spoke up. We are actually your fathers. Miwa gently grabbed her wife's hand, knowing how well news settled. What do you mean? We spent our entire lives only knowing one set of parents, even though they are shitty. If you really are our parents, why are you just now finding us? He took a deep breath and reached for Victor's hands with his own trembling ones before continuing. From there, he confessed. Everything. From their raging popularity from ice skating and how it made them one of the richest people alive. And with that, their miracle children. But that also came with hate and people always coming after them. How that night went down right up until they were taken. Yuuri showed his scar when he threw himself in front of his children, while the Russian handed them their birth certificates, showing that they were in fact their children and shared their DNA. Saying everything made the weight on his chest from the past 18 years lift. He didn't even realize he was lightly crying until he felt Elisa wipe his cheek with a sympathetic look and her own version of grief. We brought you into this world, expecting nothing but the best future. I'm so sorry. He broke down in front of his oldest and youngest, burying his face into his hands. Elisa wanted to say something, anything. But every time she opened her mouth, no words came out. Why didn't you tell us sooner? You've been searching for so long, so why didn't you say anything when you found me? Or when I asked about your kids? Lev let out his own frustrated tears, and with his fist balled in anger. Yuuri could only smile lightly. Lev, whenever you were brought into this world, it was a 50-50. We thought we pushed our luck with Elisa and Natsuo. You were such a frail baby. We were afraid you wouldn't make it into your toddler years. Regardless, we raised you to the best of our ability and loved you, just in case you did pass. We wouldn't say you were miserable in your short time alive. The Ravenet grabbed an envelope with pictures in them, yet another reminder that the children were in fact theirs. The picture was Victor smiling, holding a little copy of him in his arms. Lev was happily snoozing, with Natsuo curled up into his side. This was the last day we saw you. I don't remember this. It was your birthday. Lev was just a baby last time we saw him. He barely had time to develop a personality. Because of how weak and ill he was, we were afraid we would only find Elisa and Natsuo. But look at you. You're taller than your old man. And alive, and well too. To be honest, we mistaked you for Natsuo at first, because we didn't believe that you were, well, alive. You cast me off as dead? Well, no. Don't get us wrong, you were just a baby. We didn't know what conditions you were going into, and we just found it easier to prepare for the worst. He nodded in understanding. Natsuo was the shyest little boy. Victor laughed at the memories of the little boy. Yeah, he would always cling on to one of us. It's surprising to see how extroverted he is now. Well, he does have some days where he shuts down and sticks to himself. Guess old habits die hard. The group laughed. The parents were relieved to see the tense atmosphere was no more. And Elisa, you were the loudest, most outgoing little girl I've ever known. I'm really happy that never changed. Yuuri smiled, the small giggle coming from his daughter. His mind flashed to that night when he heard Elisa and Natsuo screaming for him and for help while Lev cried. That vision is something that haunts him in his dreams. Just the reminder of that horrid sound makes him nauseous. Elisa, Lev. The two looked from Victor to their other dad. You're all grown up now. Victor looked down, knowing exactly where this was going. They prepared for getting shot down, but as parents, even if their children are all grown up, they couldn't help but want there to still be a part of their lives. All of you grew up to be amazing adults, and we couldn't be prouder. He spoke with his head hanging low. Sometimes I wonder if we could have done something different. That way we could have been there throughout it all. We missed it all. Your first day of school. All of your birthdays. witnessing Natsuo flourish into the extroverted person he became. Love's first words. The two sat, watching their fathers with a strained look. We missed everything. Thinking back, sometimes I can't help but think, would it have been better if we never brought you into this world? But seeing you now, alive and happy, he motioned over to Mila and Yaku, wherever he was.
We don't regret a single thing. Although we wish it was all under different circumstances, we finally found you. I know that you grew up all alone, and you took on the world all by yourselves. Elisa sniffled, squeezing Mila's hand. If you'll allow us. He choked on the sob, making him unable to finish his sentence. Will you let us be a part of your lives? Can we be a family? Before he could continue, Elisa jumped into their arms, sobbing into her father's shoulder. Yes! Out of parent's instinct, he immediately returned the hug. The last time he did so was whenever she was a small girl. Victor leaned over and wrapped his arms around the two before looking at Lev. I'm so sorry. We weren't there whenever you needed it. It's not your fault. It was so hard. Hearing his broken sister's voice, Lev broke down and joined the hug, embracing that long-awaited family reunion. I know. I'm so sorry. The two older boys could do nothing but apologize. Yuuri extended a hand out to Miwa. Oh, I don't want to intrude on. Don't be silly. You're our daughter-in-law, after all. Without a moment's hesitation, Miwa jumped into the hug as well, knowing for sure that Lisa would have dragged her if she took any longer. It'll take a bit more for Natsuo to accept. He's stubborn and protective. That's understandable. I'm sure it's a front to do whatever it takes to keep you two safe. He glanced at Lev, who had red puffy eyes from crying and puffed out cheeks. The resemblance of the small baby 18 years ago and now is uncanny. Now, let's go get your brother and my future son-in-law back. Yeah! Wait, but me and Yaku aren't... You should be aware, Natsuo's stubbornness comes from this one. He pointed to his husband, back to his carefree self. He laughed, happy his family was back together. Well, almost. The cold air stung their skin, yet the adrenaline made it seem unbearably hot. A mixture of dirt, blood, and sweat made his white locks seem matted down, and it was just the same for Yaku. Natsuo felt his pulse in his throat. The suspense of wondering if they can make it out was almost too much. He felt like vomiting. This way! Yaku yanked him down a hallway before gaining speed again. He was never much of a runner. The inferno pain in his thighs almost felt nice. At the same time, he wanted nothing more than to let gravity take him down, and stay down. Come on! We've got to keep going. He wasn't sure if he was trying to tell Yaku or himself that, but either way, it made them quicken their pace. We're almost done. The foreign voice made them immediately halt, Natsuo almost taken down the shoulder in the process. The Russian placed a hand over Yaku's mouth to make sure he didn't make any sounds. After all of these years, our final project will be done. We'll use that brat as leverage. Brat? Yaku thought for a moment that if the man was talking about him, he stiffened at the thought. And then we will give Natsuo this. Yep, definitely talking about Yaku. If we somehow get caught, don't accept anything. Don't need to tell me twice. They slowly backed away before the voices of the danger could hear them, and both of them bumped into a cart, sending the metal tools to the ground with a loud crash. At that moment, the voices stopped. Fuck. Run. Within seconds, the two were back to dashing across the maze that was this building. There wasn't even windows. At this point, Natsuo would be willing to jump out of a window, if there was one. It was like a never-ending run. Natsuo! You run ahead. What? Are you crazy? A little. Well, at least he was honest. I'm not leaving you behind. They are after you, so we need to make sure that they don't get to you. Yeah, but there are other ways. And we don't have time to figure anything else out. Natsuo peeked behind them and saw at least a dozen men closing in on them. He was right. I'm the leverage. As long as they don't have you, Lev, or even Elisa, they won't kill me. How can you be sure? Yaku squinted like he just got hit. I'm not. But that is what we are going to go with, because there are no other options. But, go. Yaku stopped running and grabbed a pipe against the wall and held it up. Yaku! Go! Make it home. I trust that you'll find me. Natsuo cursed while he continued running. What the hell is he thinking? He felt his eyes sting. Shit. Despite all of that, he kept running. He didn't let gravity take him down like he so desperately wanted. He ran. For Yaku. If you couldn't tell, at the last half of this, the quality and everything about the audio changed. That is because I finally got my mic in and I could not wait any longer. I literally sobbed after comparing the differences and just hearing the quality overall. Thank you for watching. As always, if you'd like to be kept up to date, check out any of my social medias. I hope that you'll have a wonderful day or evening.